Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for Promoting the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately called IPA-USA. IPA-USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association. As part of our advocacy for play, we've introduced these Porch Play Chats, and believe it or not, we're in our third year. And so Porch Play Chats are conversations with individuals who are just as passionate about play as we are. You can find all of our Porch Play Chats on the IPAUSA.org website, and you click on that top right-hand corner and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post one Porch Play Chat a week on our Facebook page, and you can also subscribe to our Facebook page, or you can find the Porch Play Chats on the IPAUSA.org website under Advocacy. So I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm the president of IPA USA. And with me on the porch is Lisa Murphy, one of our board members.
Hello.
Hello. And joining us today is Pierre Harrison. Pierre is an Ontario certified teacher, a learning through play and inquiry specialist, and a children's right to play advocate. So, Pierre and I are just like, we love it. Since 1985, Pierre's been involved in non-formal learning, having worked at various education centers in North America and Europe. And in 2003, Pierre launched PLAYLearnThink, a social enterprise focused on promoting child-directed play as a fundamental necessity for a healthy and fulfilling life. Pierre facilitates Adventure PlayDays in school and community settings across Canada, and I'll be curious how you do this in negative 25-degree weather. And he's a keynoter both nationally and internationally on play, inquiry, and learning at conferences, as well as facilitates training workshops for adults across the country and in Europe. Pierre appears in print, radio, TV, and web media in Canada and abroad, and has authored a chapter on play and a book for parents, which is awesome. Pierre is the president of IPA Canada. And
hold on, Deb. He's shaking his head.
Oh, you were there. You were president for 10 years.
Yeah, I'm the past president now. So I was the president for 10 years. Yeah, so
10 years, Deb. Deb,
holy
careful.
Moly!
Go, Deb.
Oh no, no. Wow. Pierre lives in an off-grid straw bale house.
I want to know about that.
We do too. You're going to have to describe this to us. In the beautiful forest of Northern Ontario with his partner, Susanne, and their 12-year-old son, Tom. Oh my goodness. And so, Pierre, I really want us to talk about play advocacy through Adventure PlayDays and play training. And I really want you to talk about Play, Learn, and Think. And then I really want you to talk about IPA Canada. So all of those together,
you have to be back is what she's saying.
Yeah. This is only like 35 to 40 minutes, so we have to do a lot. How do you view advocacy for the child's right to play? Sounds like you're doing a lot.
Yeah. Well, let me talk. And what I'm going to do up north here, it's so cold that our internet freezes once in a while. So I'm going to show you my little snowman. And then I will come back and hopefully I'll be live again. So yeah, advocacy can take on so many different forms. And I kind of divide them into like formal, what people know as traditional advocacy, and then maybe the non-formal side. So let's say, for example, formal advocacy would be kind of like lobbying governments, all the different levels of government from municipal all the way up to federal, lobbying different groups to try and sort of like promote play or incorporate play in their doings. So for example, IPA, the IPA world, IPA USA, IPA Canada, the branches of IPA world, part of the work that we do is kind of like formal advocacy, where here in Canada, IPA Canada writes the play portion of a NGO report that goes to the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child to see how we're doing in promoting and advocating for children's play in Canada. So that's kind of like on the more formal side. And then on the less formal side, we try and make resources, and we try and build tools so that we can target different key sectors involved in children's play, or should be, and to help them maybe put play on the forefront. So for example, IPA Canada in the past, well, almost in the past year, I guess, we've been working on one project for a long time that we launched at the IPA Triennial Conference in Calgary back in 2017. So that was our play charter. And through a lot of consultations, both international and national, we've distilled that to be our IPA Canada play declarations. And what we've done is we've held some focus groups across the country. And so we have this really beautiful document that we launched during the week of National Play Day here in Canada, which we've aligned with the UK National Play Day. So it's the first Wednesday of August. And so we launched that program that week. And then we kind of tweaked the declarations. We had a great pickup and we got some great feedback. And so we tweaked it a little bit and mostly worked on the graphics, and we relaunched it for November 20th. The National Day of the Child, International Day of the Child. And so that is a tool that we're using, and we're encouraging sort of like organizations, municipalities, individuals to use our play declarations to either develop their own, so they can tweak them or use it as an example to develop their own, or B, just to spark some conversations around play provision in an organization or in a municipality. So that's kind of like a formal, non-formal kind of avenue where we've created a formal document, but then we're putting it out there to let people play with it the way they want. So we have, like, just very quickly, there's a couple of cities in the country that have taken on our play declarations and are using it as a background to develop their own play charter to navigate that play provision. There's a group of childcare providers in Quebec, and they've kind of used our declarations, but they've created their own that guides their work in their context. So that's what we're trying to do with that, is trying to get people to talk about it. What is play provision? So that's a form of advocacy there. From that project, we're also working on making some how to make play happen in certain key sectors. So for example, this summer, we had some national consultations with municipalities, with parents, and with the childcare arena. And what we're doing right now, we've just gotten the report at the end of last year, and now we're distilling all the information and hopefully going to turn that into some make play happen sort of like resources that will be available to those three key sectors. And then based on the feedback that we're going to get from that, then we're hoping to target other sectors like education, healthcare, and things like that. So that's kind of like a little bit more formal / informal. A couple other things that we're doing in the non-formal advocacy arena, IPA Canada, is that we've launched a Play Champions program. And what the Play Champions program is about is to try and sort of like recognize organizations or individuals who are doing some great work around children's play and play provision, and sort of like shout them out. So we're going to feature them on our website. We're going to give them some icons that they can use to put on their websites. And we're hoping that from our Play Champions program, we'll be able to create regional play networks. Because Deb, Lisa, as you know, like the US, Canada, we're huge countries, right? So it's hard to know what's going on from one end of the other vis-a-vis play and play advocacy and provision. So that's one aspect of, let's say, play advocacy that we're hoping to tap into by creating these regional play networks. So with IPA Canada, it's a really nice mix of kind of like formal play advocacy and non-formal play advocacy. Now I'd like to jump into what I do with PLAYLearnThink. So it may surprise you to know that my background is science. So I'm actually a biochemist.
I love it.
But my work, like I said, when you were reading my introduction, I worked in the non-formal arena. So after leaving academia, I worked in some labs there for a while at universities, but then I jumped into the science center world. And the children's museums world. And so I was running their labs and doing science experiments with the kids to try and make science fun for them. And having had a very playful childhood up here in Northern Ontario, because the forest was our backyard, it was very, very easy to see the parallels between play and science. You know, because for me and for many people, you know, like play is going out into your environment and asking questions and building knowledge and asking more questions, which is fundamentally science, except that science tends to be a little bit more regimented or it follows certain standards. But the scientific process is essentially asking a question, going out into the world, playing around with some stuff and building some knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to launch PLAYLearnThink, because I really wanted to focus on the importance, the fundamental importance of play. And the name of my organization, PLAYLearnThink, to me that defines the steps that we take as humans. At first we play, and then we get some schooling and we learn, and we also learn as we're playing, obviously, and then we think. And for me, thinking is essentially playing with what you've learned. And so the more—
Hold on. That's a fantastic soundbite. Say that again.
So for me, so play, learn, think is the progression. And then thinking for me, like that's why I put it at the end, because thought is essentially playing with what you've learned. So the more experiences you have out there in the world, especially self-directed, the more you learn and the more you play with that leads to other thoughts about what else can you learn. So that's why I launched Play, Learn, Think, to really focus on that aspect of play. And I started off by you know, doing workshops and things like that, but I wanted to step up the advocacy for play. And I figured, you know what, at Christmas time, when do the manufacturers of toys put commercials for toys on TV? Is it during adult programming or is it during children's programming? And it's children's programming, right? Because they understand that they can say whatever they want to parents. It's the child that's going to nag their parent ad nauseum that will go out finally and buy that toy, right?
Actually, an industry. That's actually an industry phrase, right? The nag factor. How long is it going to take before the adult actually puts it in their basket? Yeah, it's
exactly. So I've kind of modified that a little bit, and I said, okay, I'm talking to parents a lot, and I'm telling them play is good, and I'm giving them resources. Play is good, blah blah blah, and it goes in one ear and it comes out the other. Sure. So I said, okay, Adventure PlayDays. We're going to create these amazing spaces where kids can play with a bunch of loose parts and tools and bring the parents in. And then the parents can see what the children are doing. And this is what I call my parent engagement adventure play day. And so let's say halfway in, half an hour in, I bring the parents to one side and I give a mini formal little talk on the importance of play. And so we look at the importance of play, we look at the importance of exploring risk, and then we look at other aspects of play. And then when the parents go back and see their children in action, playing with different materials, using tools, the light bulb goes off. You know, so instead of just reading something and kind of like, okay, I'm not really sure what that means, when they see their kids involved in that self-directed play, then they understand that play is not frivolous. Look at the things that they are learning. And of course, during an adventure play day, I'm on a bullhorn, hey kids. And I'm giving messages, okay? Parents, you see this, see what the kids are doing? Well, take a look at that collaboration. Take a look at that problem solving. I'm also—
are you I call it broadcasting. Like I call it speakerphone, right? Are you literally doing that? Are you in earshot of the kids? Is it impacting their play and what they're doing? Or is it really just for the service of the adults that are there?
It's kind of like I aim some of it to the children. So I say, hey, children, don't forget to tell your parents that you're wearing the contractor hat or you're wearing the boss hat. And so if your parents are trying to tell you too much what you're doing, you tell them to go get your own box. So I kind of direct it to the kids and to the parents. But the children are usually so engrossed in their play that it's just some guy on a megaphone talking.
It's like the Charlie Brown teacher, right?
Teacher voice, right?
Because
Exactly.
I'm focused.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm focused.
But have you noticed though? I mean, you kind of jumped over it, not jumped over it, but I'm saying, have you witnessed then adults, like their lenses, their eyeballs? Now their kids are playing, they come to you for this little 15-minute crash course, and now you set them loose again. Nothing out there has changed. So the only variable that really has changed is their own eyeballs, one layer of their eyes. And you've seen, is this what I'm hearing? You've seen then adults.
I see how they interact. Yes, I see how the parents interact. They all of a sudden stand back a little bit more. And honestly, almost at every single adventure play day that I do, and I've been doing them since 2003, so I've done quite a few. I always have a parent and say, "Oh my goodness." I have some parents come up to me and say, "Oh my God, have I screwed up my kid? Have I been overbearing?" And I say, no, as parents, there's no manual on how to do this, right? So we do the best that we can, but
you've got more tools in your tool belt now after today, don't you? Yes.
Exactly. That's what I tell them. So now that you have this information, you can go back. And that's what they say. They say, "Oh, wow, this is so amazing." And it's just, often parents don't have the time. Like, play often is a time where, okay, send the kids off to play so I can do some stuff. And the parents don't get the chance to observe their children as they're playing. So they can't see the learning that is going on. But with my bullhorn, I'm giving them those messages. And then that way they say, "Oh my goodness, yeah, literacy, numeracy, structural stuff, like math, science, it's all there."
So I have another question.
Yes.
Do you find that people's mindset can be changed in, I'm saying 15 minutes, but do you find that they need little booster shots, or is it like once they've been told, like they got it one time and that was enough to sustain them then to facilitate or to make room for their child's play? Or do you find that there's like repeat necessary?
Well, I think the repeats come because a lot of parents, so I do a local annual Adventure Play Day. And also what I do sometimes, I do Adventure Play Day summer camps where I have the kids coming all the time. But sometimes I'll work closely with some schools. And so when I do think of the work that I'm doing with schools, I have the parents over and over at least once a year, sometimes every twice a year. And so you see that for some parents, it's right away. It's like, "Oh my goodness, my eyes have been opened. I'm not going back." For some parents, it takes a little bit more time because it depends how you were brought up, right? Sure. So when I work with ECEs, with early childhood educators, one of their comments is that, our parents are so overprotecting. And what I tell them is that we're now at a point in our society where many of our parents have been overstructured and overparented, right? And so
they're going to give back what they got.
Exactly. But most of the time when their eyes are open, and especially that's why it's important for them to see it with their own kids, then it usually sinks in a little bit deeper. And a typical play day is either a half day, 3 hours, or a full day, 6 hours. So over that course of time, they really have a chance to internalize my little sound bites of messages when I took them aside, and then creating those play connections with their kids. So most parents walk away. Now, unfortunately, I haven't made a study of this where I ask the parents to come back to me. I do like little formal surveys, and I have a contact site on my website. So I do get sort of like parents saying, "Oh my goodness, the box that we took away from your Adventure Play Day," because I always give them the opportunity to take away whatever they created. So our little house, our little castle was in our backyard for like 6 months until the snow finally came down and crushed it, you know? So I know that they're continuing, like at least some of them are continuing the play at home, which is brilliant. And so for me, that tells me that they have opened up a bit more, but it also means that they're probably observing their children a little bit more and understanding on a deeper level the play and the learning that is going on.
The value of it.
So
Yeah.
Pierre,
How I used to always say that the best person on your team is a wolf in recovery. The wolf being the person who's like, what are you doing? What's your goal? What's your objective? And once they're on your team, they're the best advocate because they can talk to the other wolves. And then you've got that one parent over there that was so resistant, and now they're like, no, just calm down, Karen. You know, like it's going to be just fine. That's awesome.
Yeah. And
so Pierre,
Deborah,
I think Pierre, I think the people who are listening want to have some ideas, because I love this, and this is what Lisa and I need to do when we retire. Of course, you're much younger than I am, Lisa. So
well, I'll buy the van. I'll come to Philly and we'll go drive around with all of our crap in the back of the van.
I might have a cane by the time you get here.
That's okay.
But
you can be in charge of the bullhorn.
yeah, I'd love that. One of the things I think that listeners might be really interested in is, how did you get space to do
permission.
a play day?
I want to know how you got permission, and I'm asking kind of selfishly, in all honesty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how did you get permission?
Yeah.
And, you know, because, you know, especially in the US, everything is a liability. And so, you know, you need some
like
sort
if
of
I pulled
release,
up onto an elementary school playground with a van full of stuff and started offloading it, like I'd be carted away before the stuff was even off of the van. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The police would come. And then the third question I have is, can you describe, and I hope you'll send me some information. I mean, I'm going to put your website up, but send me some information so that folks can have access to what are the materials, who pays for them, all of the practical things, and how many do you do a year? And I know it's your organization, so I have all these questions about mechanics of how it happens.
I'll share that with you, Deborah. So what I'll do is I will share within the next couple of days. I'll send you links to my website, obviously, but I'll share where I have some PowerPoints of images of Adventure PlayDays, either indoors in schools or outdoors in schools or outdoors in municipal spaces. I'll also send you links to a little, so I've got like a 2-leaf pamphlet. I also have a little booklet that I wrote for parents who come to the play days. So essentially what it is a whole bunch of information that they can take home. And the booklet has a little bit of information on what you can do at home to continue the play and stuff like that. But
what to do after the cardboard castle falls apart in the snow.
Exactly. And actually, I don't give them any tips like that. I just let your kids figure it out, and they will figure it out, which is great. Coming back to how it all started, essentially, I just started doing play days, you know. So whenever a municipality was doing something for kids, it started off with my own, essentially. I said, hey, let me do something. So that was my first one. So it started off with some daycares. Let me do some little things with your daycares. And then finally in 2005, the municipality asked me if I could help them with, up here in October, we have Week of the Child. And so, but by the time it hits October, it's so cold.
It's cold. I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, we did a sort of like a pre-week in September where it was still beautiful, and essentially all I did was I brought in a whole bunch of boxes, and I brought some utility knives and some saws, and they were apprehensive. So I said, listen, I have a little crew of volunteer adults. We'll use the tools, and then we'll see what happens. Now, the municipality was very, very apprehensive. They were like, okay, so you're going to bring in a whole bunch of materials, and what are the kids going to do? And I said, well, they're going to do whatever they want. And they didn't understand the concept of like Adventure PlayDays. They didn't understand the concept of giving the children free reign. So when I saw that they thought they might not do it, I told them, listen, I'm going to make a couple stations. And one of the stations, I'll bring in a whole bunch of natural materials and all that, and they can make a forest fairy. You know, so essentially they can hammer some little things on a piece of wood and make a little forest fairy. And that they could wrap their brains around.
Sure.
And, okay, that's an activity. That's great. Okay, so we'll have that activity. And then, hang on, I'm going to disappear because my computer just said it's going to die.
Oh, no. Okay. See you in a minute.
Deb, this is
now it's
awesome.
back.
Oh, that was quick.
That was quick. I just had to plug it in and turn the switch on. So they understood the activity. So I said, okay, we'll have that as an activity. Now leave me alone and let me do the adventure play part. And then once you see it, you'll understand what it means. And that's exactly what happened. You know, once they saw it, they understood what it meant. And so they saw the engagement of the children, and they saw that the children went quickly through the activity to get it done. But then they saw that the kids were spending so much time at the adventure portion where they could decide what they wanted to do. And the engagement level was so high. And so the learning was so high, the collaboration was so high. So that's what tipped me off to the fact that this is a form of advocacy. You know, I'm advocating for the child's right to play through putting on these adventure play days. And so wherever I go now, people are starting to understand what adventure play days are. But back in the early 2000s, people are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And the first time I went into,
Sounds dangerous. Yeah.
The first time I went into a school, like I bring in saws, hammers, I have safety glasses, I have nails, and they're like, what? But so how I did that eventually is that I financed it myself. So I did it myself, and there's no, I'm not independently wealthy, but what I did is I built up a network of, so I have a company that keeps all their cardboard boxes for me. I have another company that keeps all their wood pallets for me. Payless Shoes used to keep all their shoe boxes for me. You know, so I created this network within Ontario that I could get some materials wherever I went. And eventually, as the years went on, that network grew to across the country. So what I do now, if someone wants an adventure play day in, let's say, Alberta, well, then 2 months earlier, I call up some people, some network people over there, some companies that say, okay, give me 30 boxes, give me this, give me that. And then I drive there or fly there, rent a vehicle, and then I pick up all the material, and then I put on some adventure play days. So it's all about being resourceful, trying to grab those, make those contacts where people can keep stuff for you. And honestly, I'd have to say 95% of the people that I've contacted were more than happy to give me some stuff, you know, which is great. And so as a social enterprise, I try and keep my costs as low as possible. But now the client does pay for some stuff. So there are some consumables like paint, nails, whatever. I bring some crafty stuff as well. So the client usually pays for those.
Do they keep it all after the play day?
And then once it's done, they get to keep it. Or let's say if it's a community play day, like I said at the beginning, I let the people bring their creations with them. And then if there's extra duct tape, then I distribute the duct tape to them as well so that they can keep building. Or if there's a catastrophic fail in their structure, they can rebuild it and things like that. So that's kind of like the scenario that works. So a client will pay for the materials, they'll pay for my time to come in to facilitate the play day, cover travel expenses. And so it works really, really well. So as you can imagine, it started small, kind of in my area, but then this was really fun. In 2013, so in Canada, we have, in Ontario, the Ministry of Education has clued in to the importance of play-based learning and inquiry-based learning, so that in 2010 they've modified their curriculum documents for kindergarten to reflect that. And by some weird coincidence, someone from the ministry was at one of my workshops, like one of my play days, awesome. And they said, wow, we need to have you come and do the training. So I worked with the ministry to to develop a training session. And that's what really helped my organization, is that I was invited to tour the province with the ministry, providing training for teachers and early childhood educators and in how to do this in the classroom. So this put me in front of every Francophone school board in Ontario, which really helped. And then from then on, it just kind of exploded to different parts of the country and stuff like that. So, but again, it's that little bit of advocacy and trying to show the child's point of view to the adult, because Deborah, you probably know this, Lisa, you may know this as well, but IPA World, when we were pressuring the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child to write a general comment on play, they wanted some evidence. And so IPA World did this kind of global consultation back in 2010. And one of the biggest obstacles to play was the adults' lack of understanding of the importance of play. And so essentially that's the focus of my advocacy, is to try and build that awareness. And we're not going to change everyone's mind, but at least give them, as you said, Lisa, that's what I'm doing, is giving them more tools to put in their parenting tool book or municipal tool belt. And then that way they can look at play slightly differently.
Yeah.
It sounds so powerful, Pierre, especially, and I love the bullhorn without, as long as it's not interfering.
What do you mean, Dad?
I know, because, I teach in a community college and I teach education, right? And so it's really interesting how, adult learning, right, is you teach a concept and then you let them apply it, right? You teach a concept and you let them apply it. So it is perfect in what you're doing with these families. You're letting them watch for a little bit, you're pulling them aside, you're saying, here's what's happening, and then you're actually bullhorning the addition, you're extending their understanding as they're watching their children play. I mean, it's a powerful model. It's Lisa's turn.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is my nerd asking, do you do pre and post data gathering at this juncture so you can actually have some hard evidence?
See, that's what I want to start doing. I haven't done that with Adventure PlayDays yet. It's only kind of anecdotal, like I don't have anything formal set up, but I do have the comments that parents send me, and then the word of mouth, it's often, hey, you did a play day for this municipality or this school. We want you to come to our school.
Okay, so I'll be a PhD candidate if I can be your nerd that gathers that data and comes to these play days at this juncture. I am totally putting myself out there.
I'll keep that in mind.
No, seriously. No, I'm not kidding at all. 100%. Because that is sometimes, as much as I've said for how many years now, Deb, 30 years, I wish that we didn't need that kind of data. I wish we didn't have to keep proving what the research has already proven. But by golly, if I can be enjoying myself and gathering data at the same time that makes you just finally believe that what we're doing is important, fine.
Yeah.
And if it will change parents' perceptions, right?
That's
if you're
huge.
Thinking about parents,
but then
teachers,
they go tell other parents, right? So
principals.
There's other parents that might not even need to participate, and already their worldview has changed. And so now 2 weeks from now, they'll actually show up to the play day, whereas maybe 3 weeks ago they would have been like, we're not going to that.
I'm not doing that. Can I leave my child? I can just hear them. Can I just leave my child and go run errands?
And I say, no, you can't leave your child.
But you may not.
A good example for that, Lisa, that's exactly what happened. There's a group that brought me in Southern Ontario. So I spent like a month preparing this. They said, we're gonna have a lot of people. And finally the time came, and we got there and there wasn't that many people at the day. And so I started asking the parents, so why do you think not many people are showing up? And they thought, well, when we heard about Adventure Play Day, and because I had sent photos and all that, but I'm not sure what the people did to communicate what was going to be happening. But they all thought, we're going to get together, the kids will kick a ball around, play some skipping rope or whatever, stuff like that. And so it hadn't been transmitted, but the parents that were there, they got on their phones and started calling all of their friends and saying, oh my goodness, it's not what we were thinking. Come
Get
on
over here.
Yeah. And so we had I think we had over 100 people show up at the event, So
has social media influenced how many people participate? at all?
That's an embarrassing question. I'm not on
Because
social media, which I kick myself sometimes, like I should be on Twitter and I should be taking photos. But luckily what happens is most of the time,
parents are.
it's an event that is being organized by someone else and they have brought me in. So
They've
they
done it.
normally have
They
social
do,
media and they do it. And so that's, but that's the thing, like I keep telling myself, but then what I always fall back to is that I don't have time to maintain a social
Right.
media presence.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
and I think it would be more detrimental to just have
One
whatever, an
picture from
account that-
2 years ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, he hasn't done anything. Swipe, swipe, swipe.
Yeah.
No, that's,
exactly.
I appreciate that you're aware of that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a beast that needs feeding on a constant
time.
level. Yeah, basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that because I see, like, sometimes I have people showing up at a play day, because they usually last like at least the whole day, at least half a day. And I'll have people show up that weren't on the list or whatever. And it's just that, oh yeah, my friend just tweeted about this. And so we're here because of that, because we have some time. So it is, as you said, Lisa, it is a powerful tool that could be very useful. But again, most of the time, like except for the personal play days that I do in my community, and I've been doing them on an annual basis, so my audience keeps growing just by word of mouth. I don't need to do anything.
Sure, you're
but
right.
but the clients who bring me in to do stuff, whether sometimes it's a closed, it's not an open event, right? So when schools bring me in, or childcare providers bring me in, well, then that's a closed event.
Right,
So
it's
we
just for
can't-
them.
Yeah, but when municipalities bring me in, or other groups, let's say health units bring me in, then it's opened up to the whole community, and they normally use their social medias to sort of like bring people into the event.
Sure.
Yeah,
Pierre,
and
this
often
has
they do
been
tracking.
this has been unbelievable. So
I'm going to go
You're
shopping on the side of the road as soon as we're done here. And I'm going to
I know, yeah, go pick stuff up. Yeah, figure out when your trash people come and pick up the big items, that
Yeah.
nobody wants. Oh my goodness, I know.
Well,
If I
that's what
wasn't
tell
moving, I would
ECTs.
fill my garage with that stuff.
That's what I tell early childhood educators, is that
Yes.
all of your parents should never be throwing anything away before asking themselves, can the daycare or the
Could Miss
school
Lisa use this?
Yeah,
Miss Lisa, do you want
exactly.
this?
Yes, exactly. Well, in some of the work I did in China, I went to a couple of restaurants.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to China and I need some lightweight materials. Could you save me all your wine corks?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I took hundreds
Wow.
of wine corks.
They talk about Deb now without her realizing it, but we'll talk about that another time.
It wasn't mine. I don't drink wine, but it was amazing what they were like. Oh yeah, we'll save you those, no problem. And I'm like,
You just have to ask.
You
Yeah,
have to
all you have
ask.
to do
That's
is
it.
ask.
And wear
favorite
shorts when
tip-
you pick it up. Huh?
Yeah. I'll give you one last tip, because you guys have Costco's in the States, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, so the Costco across the country, their film department, their rolls of film, well, they're on some very sturdy cardboard rolls. Some of them are like 6 inches long, some of them are like 2 feet long. And those the kids love. They build so many amazing things with them. So wherever I'm going across the country, I usually call up the Costco, the film department, and I say, because they toss them, right? They throw them away. So get out there, ask them for those. Like there's so many opportunities for loose parts out there and people are happy to give them to you, because often they have to pay to get rid of them themselves.
Get rid of it. And Pierre, for the young people, please tell them what film is. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not.
It's the film paper. It's the film paper that they print their digital photos on. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. So we're in the 21st century, I think.
Yeah.
Pierre, this has been amazing.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you
Very
so
nice
much.
to meet you.
Don't go anywhere. Well, I'm going to close this out. We'll be right back.
Okay.
So for more information on IPA USA, please visit our website at IPAUSA.org. And until next time, keep on playing.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.